All right. So today I'm going to do my top 5 90s TV shows. This was even harder than my top 5 80s because there are so many good ones. There's going to be a lot of honorable mentions for this one. I don't know if I can do these in a particular order. I'm going to try, but it's so hard. All right, so I'm going to do this one backwards. We're going to start with number 5, which is going to be Daria. Who remembers Daria on MTV? Oh my gosh. She had the cool friend Jane. She had the cute brother Trent. Yes, Trent was Jane's brother, who she had a crush on, I had a crush on a cartoon. Trent was hot. He was like the musician, like soccer cool boyfriend, like brother that you wanted as a boyfriend. She had the annoying sister Quinn, but that sometimes you were kind of like, I kind of understand her. And then the parents were just like, the dad was really kind of stupid from what I remember. And the mom was just always busy working. But it was like, the perfect 90s teenage show. Yeah, MTV did really good with that. Others would probably say Beavis and Butthead. No, it was just so dumb to me. Like, I could not get behind that. But Daria, yes, I still hear the dun, dun, dun. I can't do it right. But anyways, yes, make fun of me. All right, so number 4 is another cartoon. One word, Springfield. The Simpsons. Oh my gosh. And The Simpsons is like, Simpsons can really keep going. But anyways, The Simpsons was amazing. Like, when that came, they were so ahead too. Like, they predicted stuff. And Bart Simpson was just obnoxious but cool. You felt sorry for Lisa, but then she kind of annoyed you too. Maggie was like the child prodigy baby. The mom was nice. The dad was a little dumb too. But it was just such a fun show. They looked weird. Krusty the Clown. They always had these like evil people. And then, you go to Universal Studios and they're still there and you can immerse yourself in Springfield. Yeah, I think that was like one of my favorite cartoons ever and still is. Honorable mention goes to SpongeBob, which also came out in the 90s. But anyways, back to my list. We were at 3, this was tough because I loved this show, but it was only on for like 1 season. My So-Called Life. Oh my gosh, like My So-Called Life, I really wanted to be Claire Danes' character, but I realized that I was more like the terrible friend. Not that I was the terrible friend, but I was definitely not as nice as Claire Danes' character. I would have totally hooked up with Jordan Catalano too. Sorry, not sorry. Who did not have a crush on Jordan Catalano? And when I actually met Jared Leto one day, I kept calling him Jordan Catalano. I was like, whatever, Jordan. He was really nice about it. I'll give him that. We all know he hates it. He's moved on to bigger and better things. 30 Seconds to Mars. So yeah, but he was so easy on the eyes, wasn't he? And then Ricky Vasquez was her best friend, I wanted Ricky Vasquez to be my best friend. So yeah, My So-Called Life, it was like every like insecurity that you felt. The boy you had a crush on that didn't like you back, but then he did, and it was like, oh my gosh. But it didn't quite work out, and then, he hooked up, then really, Bella? So then, obviously we know what happens. He hooks up with the best friend and blah, blah, blah. There's drama. But that's life, right? But My So-Called Life was amazing. And I signed the petitions to bring it back and it did not happen. It was such a good series. Gosh, I still watch it when it comes on. All right. Maybe it should have been my number 2. So number 2 is going to be Beverly Hills 90210, the original series. The second one was awful. But the original series, oh my gosh, like that was definitely one of those shows that I think was like one of the first ones that I think touched more serious subjects than some of the previous ones. And it was what, 2 twins that moved from Minnesota to Beverly Hills. And, you know, so of course they like attend the school, and it's like, you know, you see their whole transition period from like awkward and dressing bad to fitting in and, you know, becoming friends with the cool kids. And, you know, these kids have like all these problems that for them it's a whole different world because there's just like Midwestern kids. And I think a lot of people, maybe unless you're in Beverly Hills, could relate more to Brenda and Brandon than the rest of the crew. You know, you had like Dylan McKay that was the trust fund baby. I should be ashamed to admit this, but Dylan, my dog, is named after Dylan McKay because I had the biggest crush on him. Maybe there's a pattern to my shows. I seem to have a lot of crushes. But yes, Dylan McKay was like the bad boy that we all like were like, but he's nice, you know, taking his high school girlfriend to Mexico without her parents knowing. Sure, let's all do it. But anyways, and then him and Kelly ended up together, and I was not about that. I was on Team Brenda. But whatever, enough about that. 90210, and then there's Brian Austin Green. Who else? Oh, Tori Spelling, of course. But yeah, it was a really fun show, and it was a huge part of like growing up because it was on for so long. All right, so last but certainly not least, number 1, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Some of you might know I'm a huge Buffy fan. It was just such a fun show. I love sarcasm and I love wit, so duh. Like that show had some of the best one-liners. The writing was just amazing. The characters were like perfectly well written, you know. Even like the minor characters were really well developed. And it got a little weird when they brought Dawn on. Like, I'm not going to say that, like, the whole show was 100% amazing, but all in all, I loved Buffy. You once again had the brooding bad boy Angel, and then you got Spike. I was a fan of both of them. You had Drusilla, who my older dog was named after, and I wanted to get Spike, but I didn't get Spike. But yes, my dog Drusilla was named after one of the vampires. It makes sense, doesn't it? Of course it does. So there was, I don't know, that was just such a good show, and I think it was so unique compared to the other ones. Yeah, I love that show. I love it. Sarah Michelle Gellar was perfect for that show. I will admit, I did not care for the movie as much, even though Luke Perry was in it. It wasn't really my thing, but the TV show I adored. So that was definitely my favorite show of the 90s. So my honorable mentions are going to be the X-Files. I got into it kind of late in the game. You know, if you're into aliens and conspiracies and all that, it's a great show. That's another very well-written show. It was very well written. But I just kind of got bored with it after a while because to me it was like the same thing over and over. But it was a good show. Spongebob was funny. It was cute. But it was one of those, okay, every once in a while. Same with South Park. To me, it was just repetitive, but it was funny. And they predicted some stuff. You go back and look at South Park, they predicted a lot of stuff. Blossom, because Joey Lawrence was hot. Remember when he tried to do his singing career? I think I bought the album. The Fresh Prince. I loved The Fresh Prince. I really wanted that to be in my top 5. I should have put it in my top 5. I loved The Fresh Prince. That 70s show, that was another. It's got Mila Kunis, who I absolutely adore, and Ashton Kutcher. But yeah, the 90s were good. Oh, and then there was Melrose Place, which was a 90210 spinoff. That one was good at first, but then it got really weird. It got like too weird for me. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then you know what I think I forgot? Like, was Nip Tuck the 90s or the 2000s? So I fact checked. Nip Tuck was the 2000s. That'll be another list. So my last honorable mention, and the only reason I didn't put this higher, because I absolutely adore this show and I own every single episode, is because I actually didn't start watching it until the 2000s, is Sex and the City. I mean, oh my gosh. Like, right? If you're a girl, every character reminds you of one of your best friends, and it's so relatable, but I was a little young when it came out. So I didn't start watching it until like my mid-20s. You know what I mean? So I don't count it as like 90s for me because it came out, I was like 19. I was like, I don't care about these older women. But yeah, but I love it now, and I did love it when I got older. So that's another honorable mention. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs it up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.